Happy Friday, guys, and welcome to PuckTime on WagerTalk TV. It is Friday, January 31st. We've got a handful of games to get to. Prop sides, totals, team totals, all kinds of stuff in between. Myself, Andrew McGinnis, and Carmine Bianco, who continues to crush it for all of us in the soccer market. Also off a big night in the NHL. Good morning to you, Carmine. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, soccer definitely good. A 5% winner yesterday with Sporting Braga as they beat Italian side Lazio. I've done a good job of fading Italian teams. I think I got my finger on the pulse of how they're going to play day to day, week to week. But yeah, 3-0 night in the NHL last night. I had to stay up for the first 20 minutes of that San Jose Seattle game, Andrew. That was the final one. I had the over 1.5, which I gave out on the show as well too. Got a little lucky. Off a defenseman into the net, 1-1. I shut off the TV and went to sleep after that. But we had a good card today, considering there's only like 4 games, I think, on the card. Nashville, Buffalo, Vancouver, Dallas, St. Louis, Colorado. We're going to skip the props playlist today just because there aren't enough games for Andrew to put together a card. He's not going to give you plays that he's not going to take himself. So we have the 6 and 60, and I will do the exact same thing I did last week, where wait until the video is over and posted. Do not post it in the live comment section, but your prediction on how the 6 and 60 will go this week. Last week was 5 and 1, and of all the people who get it correct, I will draw one name out of a hat, and you'll get some puck time swag. That last week's 2 winners have sent their info in, so those will go out on the weekend or on Monday. Some puck time swag. But with that said, Andrew, I'm looking forward to a good show. You have your great feature on the weekend, which is every game on the board. If you're going to listen to any game on the board, you want to get it from a guy like Andrew, who's been absolutely crushing the NHL. So I'm looking forward to that segment, Andrew, along with the 6 and 60. Andrew, I looked at yesterday's scores, and it just seems like, I think on yesterday's show, I said something like, the Ottawa-Washington game looks like a dead under. These teams, they could possibly go over, but this game's never going to finish 5-4. Final score 5-4 in that game. They a scoreless first period. If you had the under, you're loving the first period. You're loving it after 20 minutes, but after that, 9 goals across 2 periods in OT. Man, what happened there? Any idea?
I mean, the second that this Washington team fell behind, the comeback was on. These teams started trading goals, but the biggest thing that happened, Carm, and it's a short and simple answer, not 1, but 2 shorthanded goals. I mean, if you have an under in a game and there's not 1 but 2 shorthanded goals, you might as well say thanks for playing and turn that TV off. It's very rare to see 1 shorthanded goal in a game, let alone to see 2 in one singular game. So yeah, that one definitely kind of started popping off out of nowhere as far as the goals are concerned. But Ottawa, man, knocks off, the best in the East last night. They continue to roll. And I'll tell you, I mentioned it yesterday on the show. Yeah, sure. They're not the Edmonton Oilers. They're not the Maple Leafs. They don't have maybe the crowd that the Montreal Canadiens have. They got a good fan base. They got a good crowd. And this team has every reason to be feeling good right now. Because right now, Carm, there's not just one team that's a good hockey team in Ontario anymore. They've got 2 good teams in that province right now. They're not just third place in the division now. They're trying to get second place in that division. First place. Don't let Sens fans know that they're heating up the way that they are, because this team's playing very well. And I feel like we aren't, as people overall talking about games and media giving this team enough credit. They have done very, very well. And the crazy part is, they've done all of this without Linus Ullmark, and Ullmark is about to come back, which is going to be even better for the Ottawa Senators. Carm, I had an 0-2 night last night, discouraging, but trying to hold your head high. You can't win the 5% plays every single time out, unfortunately. Lost Islanders game over, lost the Tampa LA game over. A ton of chances for both teams. Expected goal numbers were 4-2 for Tampa over LA. LA gets shut out in not just one game, but back-to-back games. Philadelphia shut out in back-to-back games as well. Can't really hit overs if you only have one team scoring. And unfortunately, big save Dave for LA had a pretty good game. So wanted to put that out. Look, still having a great year. Still up and profitable in January across all sports. But it kind of stings to lose that one on a Thursday night, especially with all the people that joined me. The good news is we gave out that deal, which is still good today. Save 10. That promo code is still good for today. Save 10. If you guys used that yesterday, we got a ton of time to make that money back with a week pass, right? But for those of you guys that just bought the one play, as much as it sucks, it's only one play. So I wanted to mention that, Carm. We don't like to hide, and the 5% have been great all year for me, but definitely tough one to lose that yesterday.
Andrew, it's the transparency. And listen, I would trade your NHL season for mine in a heartbeat. So this is why I think this whole week I've said on the show, you got to get Andrew if you're going to get Andrews, and you had that Cup 100 or Cup 150 deal as well to get it, because you're on a very good run and a good season as a whole. So there are going to be losing nights, but to the point of the Tampa game, like 4.5 to 2.24 were the analytics in that game for expected goals. Essentially 7 expected goals. You only get 3, so those will happen. Sometimes you're on the other end of it as well too. Brian Leonard always talks about like puck luck in that sense. So sometimes you need it. I got a little bit of it, and I hope to get a lot more of it. Andrew, you talked about this Ottawa team, and you mentioned I was going to say to you just before you finished Allmark. They're doing this with Allmark not in the lineup. When he comes back, hopefully he's back to his former self, and they continue to win games. I'd love to see another team in Ontario making the playoffs. But with that said, you talked about the Ottawa beating the best team in the Eastern Conference. Let's talk about the worst team in the Eastern Conference, the Buffalo Sabres and Nashville Predators. Nashville minus 125 here, Andrew. The Sabres plus 105. The total sits here at 6.5. I'm going to give my take on this real quickly. The Sabres, I'm drawing a line straight through that 7-2 win over the Boston Bruins. I faded the Bruins last night against Winnipeg, and everything that I thought would happen would happen. The Bruins are bad at defending zone entry. Winnipeg just brought that puck in every single chance they got, and speed kills. I'm drawing a line through that. I think Nashville's a better team than the Sabres. They may not be having the best season, but they're minus 125 in this spot. They have been playing better of late. They're still pushing to try and get back into that playoff race. The Sabres aren't. This is one of those ones where I'm getting a low price on Nashville here, and I just don't think that there's any momentum off of a 7-2 win over the Boston Bruins for the Buffalo Sabres. So I'm taking Nashville in this one, minus 125.
I'm right there with you, Carm. I'm not convinced this is something that can be repeated for the Buffalo Sabres. 2 players getting hat tricks, although they're, a couple days of rest. It's one of those games where every single thing went right for that team. There's not one thing that went wrong for them in that game. And you got to wonder sometimes, people use that fat and sassy angle. And whenever I say that, I think about kind of the old school handicapping of a team off a big win. It's almost like you would prefer the Buffalo Sabres off a 4-3 overtime win than you would prefer them off the absolute blowout victory that they had. Now, looking at this Nashville team, they should be motivated, and this should be a good spot for them. They had that Los Angeles streak, or the California streak, where they played the Sharks twice. They played the Ducks and then the Canucks, right? And so seeing them put up, get 5 scored on them against the Ducks, get 5 scored on them against the Sharks twice, But then in both those games, they went over. They scored 5 against the Sharks the first time around, or 6 against the Sharks the first time around, and 7 the other time around. This team is actually finding their offense. Against the Wild, they scored 6 goals. I think you know where I'm going with this, Carmen. And overall, Buffalo's defense is something I still don't trust. I'm seeing plus 100, plus 105, Nashville to get to 4. And if you think about this, how hyped up was Nashville all season, really, or before the season started? Oh my goodness, I can't believe, the captain of Tampa Bay is leaving. He's going to Nashville. That power play is going to be phenomenal. Then you had the same people saying, wow, this is how the Vegas Golden Knights treat Jonathan Marchessault. They just they kick him to the curb and let him walk away like this and go to Nashville. This team, although they've struggled immensely, there's no way they're giving up. There's no way they're packing it in here January 31st and just saying, I can't wait for the offseason. These guys are embarrassed by how their season started. I'm curious to see in some of these games over the next month and a half what this Nashville team can produce for us. So I'll throw it back to you with this, Carm. For all the people that lost money betting on the Predators to start the season and then stopped betting their games, is it time to start revisiting this team because we're going to get better prices? Like, I don't think that we'd be getting plus 100 on their team total if this game was taking place in October or November. I really don't. I feel like this is according to how they've played and the amount of time that the market has had to adjust to their play. So I think we're getting a good number here. And whether it's money line or team total, I'm buying on the Predators here.
Yeah, Andrew, I tend to agree with you. You look at, when you talk about team totals, you look at the sort of the total of the game and how that team at home fares as well as far as like totals go. And if you like the Preds here, but the Sabres, and you sort of correlate it with the fact that the Sabres have been a good over team on the season. You look at the Sabres on the season, the Buffalo Sabres, if I click on this very quickly, the Buffalo Sabres are on the season 27, 14, and 7, the most profitable team to the over on the season. At home, the Buffalo Sabres are 16, 5, and 3 to the over at home. Now, they're 16, 5, and 3, Andrew, not because they are winning games at home, is because they're getting involved in high-scoring games at home, and they're normally on the wrong end of those games. That's why they're like minus 15, I think, in goal differential as well too. So I don't hate the Nashville play as far as winning the game, and I don't hate the Nashville team total. I think this could be one of those 5-2, 4-3 type Nashville wins that gets you the win, gets me the win. So we'll see how that goes and keeps the Sabres totals soaring over. Which takes us to this next one, Andrew, because it's another, for me, it's going to be a totals play, but Vancouver and Dallas, minus 180 on the Dallas Stars here, plus 150 on Vancouver. And the Canucks, I'm loving the way the Canucks are playing right now, Andrew. All that noise that everyone thinks surrounds them, the JT Miller, Elias Patterson, somebody getting moved with this team, and they're starting to string some wins together. This was a very good Vancouver team last year. How much has changed between last year and this year? Maybe they played far above expectation last year, but they played some very good hockey. They're starting to get back to it. They're playing some defense. And when you can play some good defense on the road, it normally equates to getting some wins, or at least trying to pick up some points and getting those games to OT. Dallas Stars 16, 7, and 3 at home to the under this season. One of the more profitable teams at home when you're betting unders. This total's at 5.5, Andrew. I really want to take the live dog here, but because I think Vancouver is a live dog, but I'm going to stick with the under here. We've seen a lot of games this week with low scoring final numbers. So hopefully this is another one of them. Under 5.5 for me. Where are you going with this one?
Yeah, Carm, like you said, the reality TV show that has been the Canucks this season, I can't believe that all that stuff gets out of the locker room because I'm going to come here and say, I don't think it's the first time that two players on a professional team have not gotten along. Like, I don't think it's breaking news to anybody that these guys don't all, these guys are getting paid millions, right? They live the life. Doesn't mean every personality is going to clash. Doesn't mean every personality is going to mesh and get along well together. But it has shocked me to see how much this has been publicized, and for the general manager to come out and talk about this, I'm confused by that completely. But when I look at this team, they're stringing things together, wins in 3 of their last 4 games. But this is a Dallas team that ranked number 7 in January for expected goals for. Meanwhile, Vancouver 8th last as far as expected goals for. So this is one of those things to me where I think if you like the game, you like the under. If you like the side, I'm actually going to take a look at Vancouver team total under. I think Ottinger, I think this Dallas team defensively, they've been playing some competitive games lately. They've been kind of testing that zigzag theory probably a little bit more than they would have liked to these days here, Carm. I guess lose 1 or 2 to Carolina, or we beat 1 or 2 to Carolina and the Stars. Then you turn around things and, you play against some good teams again. They beat Carolina, then you lose against some good teams. You beat some bad teams. I've seen some kind of inconsistencies with their play. So I'm keeping it with the team totals, but I'm looking at the team total under 2.5 for the underdog. It worries me just a little bit, Carm, because this Dallas team, when they win, they typically do put up some goals. So that 5.5, we have seen games going under lately, but it could worry me a little bit to see, Dallas up 3-2, and then we're sweating that 5.5. So for that reason, I'm going to take the team total under for the Vancouver Canucks. Don't necessarily love that it's minus 130, but they've won 3 of the last 4 games. They are playing better, but I think Dallas shuts them down tonight. So a little bit of a defensive bet for me. Last Friday, we had success with these team total unders. We'll see what happens here in this one. But I'm with you. I think overall this could be a defensive one. And I think overall for the Canucks, when they're playing their best hockey right now, Carm, they're playing defensive hockey. They don't want to play 1st to 4 goals wins against anybody. I think when we've seen them have success, we've seen it be because of their defense. And think about last year when Artur Shilovs was their goalie in the playoffs. How did they win all those games? How did they force a game 7 against Edmonton? It was all low-scoring games, right? So I think regardless of the score tonight or who wins, I'm hoping we see defensive hockey.
All right, listen, Andrew, I don't, again, I don't disagree with you because you make some very good points there. And as bad as the season started, even through like November, December for this Vancouver team, you thought they needed to make some changes. They didn't, but 3 straight wins, 56 points right now, point back of the Calgary Flames for that final playoff spot, and 2 points back of the LA Kings. So they're right in the mix. There's a lot of teams in that 60 point, 65 point range, which is going to make down the stretch a lot of these games, especially when the 4-point games come up. A lot of those games are going to be big ones. Even in the Eastern Conference, there's 7 teams separated by like 6 or 7 points. It's absolutely great because it's going to eliminate a lot of those what we deem in the last month of the season meaningless games. I don't think they're going to be meaningless games if this continues, whether it's parity or not. Remains to be seen. I think it's just that teams underperforming, and Vancouver is definitely underperformed on the season as a whole. But here we are. They win tonight, and they leapfrog Calgary, and they're in a playoff spot. So we'll see where that one goes with them. Andrew, 2 other teams here, like Colorado. A lot is expected of Colorado. Losers of 4 of their last 5, though. Minus 185 at home, plus 155 for the St. Louis Blues. I'm going to throw some numbers at you, and then you can use them or tell me what your thoughts are on this one. But the Blues, 8-5-2, their last 15 away. So they're picking up points on the road, which is very important when you're trying to make a run to the playoffs. They're at 50 points right now, 7 points back. Colorado, um, this is their first period numbers on the season because I'm looking at a possible play on the Blues first period plus 140. Get in, get out. Colorado, the worst team in the league at home at after 20 minutes. 5 wins, 14 losses. 7 times they've gone into the break tied. Minus 16.8 units. If you're betting Colorado get off to a good start this season at home, you're losing money hand over fist. Can you make a case for me not taking the Blues first period plus 140?
I mean, look, Carm. The only case that I'd make is that you'd have to hope for like a 0-0 or like a 1-0 type of, or yeah, 1-0 type of thing, because I don't think they're going to score a bunch. I think the Jim Montgomery effect has kind of gone away. That's the only problem. I mean, they scored 2 against the Canucks, shut out against the Stars, 2 against the Golden Knights. This team overall isn't scoring a ton, but it's a good point to take a look at Colorado and say, man, why is it taking them so long to get their scoring going? Why are they not able to score goals until the second period? So, Carm, I know we don't talk a lot about these types of bets. What about the under 1.5 in the first period? If Colorado is not winning first periods, it probably means they're not scoring. I know we always like cheering on these over 1.5s in the first period, but I feel like if you like St. Louis to win the period, you probably like under 1.5 in the first period. Do you agree? Does that correlate? Because I think that's the best way for them to win is 1-0.
Here's the funny stat is whether you're betting overs or unders for Colorado this season at home in the first period, you're down units. It is you're down units on this because there's something like let me bring this up real quick. Colorado on the season, first period overs, they are 15-4, 15-11. So they've gone over the total in 15 of 26 games. But if you bet the over, you're down 1.6 units. If you bet the under, you're down 2.05 units. So you're losing either way with them at home. If we're looking at the St. Louis Blues 15-11 as well on the road with first period overs. You're up 1 unit on the season if you're betting their first period overs. You're down 4.65 units if you're betting the under. So 3 of the 4 scenarios with these two teams betting overs or unders are all negative unit ones. So I do get what you're saying. It makes absolute sense. And the Rantanen thing, obviously Rantanen no longer being in Colorado, you wonder this short-term losing streak of theirs. It's Rantanen gone is Andrew is similar to, I know they got obviously they got guys who came in, Drury and Nekas, but it's similar to a guy being injured. There's an adjustment period with Rantanen not there, Rantanen not on the power play, Rantanen not with McKinnon, and I don't think they've adjusted as of yet. They will adjust, and they've got 30 plus some games before the playoffs get here to adjust to it. But I don't hate it. I'm going to take the Blues though. So give me the Blues first period, and you can take the under, and I'll take the Blues 1-0 in the first period. That makes us both happy. We good with that or what?
Hey, that's fine with me. That's fine with me because that's what I was going to say is that I feel like this Blues offense has dried up a little bit. That was kind of my plan coming into this game was just going to, I feel like the Montgomery effect has kind of gone away a little bit. This team looked so good, once they got him as their new head coach. The offense was there. Now they're putting players on waivers. They're changing the lines around. Second liners become third liners. Third liners become second liners. It's a little bit different right now with this team. And, you mentioned, of course, the slow starts for Colorado at home. But I got to say, they were on the road for quite a bit, right? And when Martin Netjes and Jack Drury joined the team, they played, I think, two or three games, Carm, on the road. So now it's nice for Netjes to be back at home, or I guess his new home. And so them to get the last change, for them to get the crowd behind them, for them to get to experience playing home ice hockey again. So when you get those matchups, it really does benefit you. They're also getting healthier. I think they're getting Big Val Nichushkin back in the lineup. So I kind of lean towards the under overall in this game. But yeah, we'll sprinkle that first period under 1.5. But, Carm, for a slate like a Friday with only a few games, we got a decent card here. We got some good games to break down. I look forward to taking it nice and easy tonight here on a Friday and kicking back and put my feet up and watching some of these games and hopefully cashing some tickets in the process. But you've already started looking ahead to Saturday. So what do you have for us, man?
After this show today, guys, tune in at top of the hour, Wager Talk today. I'm going to talk about a couple of these games as well, too, with a couple different looks. So we're not being repetitive with them. And then, Andrew, I'm off to have lunch with our good buddy, Rob Braley, see if I can convince him to give Dan, our producer, some Super Bowl tickets, Eagles Nation.
We'll do
Rob,
anything,
if you're
Rob.
there,
Do anything.
Dan, the producer, would love some Eagle tickets for the Super Bowl. Excuse me. So with that said, the 6-60, 5-1 last week. Let's see if we can get anywhere close to that or better this week. Post your guys, post your predictions when the video goes up later, not in the live chat because I can't see those ones. Post it later. Let me know what you think. I'm not offended if a lot of guys picked 5-1 last week. This is what blows me away is I was waiting for the 0-6 comments, the 1-5 comments. I'm good with it. Throw the shade my way, Andrew. I don't mind it. You know how I am with that. I think I have about 10 seconds left over from last week's 6-60. So this could be a 6-70 looking at my notes here. But then
you don't get bonus seconds.
Oh, it doesn't work that way.
You don't get bonus
No
seconds.
bonus seconds.
All right.
$10 for every goal the Leafs score. Yeah. Way to go, Bet365. All right. With that said, how did I get a shot in on the Leafs before the 6-60? I'm not even sure. But with that said, Dan, hit that clock. I am ready. All right, Rangers and Bruins. Despite losses to Colorado and Carolina, the Rangers are playing well right now. Bruins, 13 goals allowed last two games. Give me the Rangers money line. LA Kings, Carolina. Kings off a 3-0 loss in Tampa. Kings 8-1-1, their last 10 at home, and second best team at home with the team total. This is an Andrew team total over 3.5 for the Canes. Minnesota and Ottawa. I'm taking the under 5.5 here. Mini 7-2-1, their last 10 on the road to the under. Ottawa 6-2-2, their last 10 at home to the under. Winnipeg and Washington. Give me the Jets money line. Caps first game back off a 5-game road trip. Jets riding a 5-game win streak. I'll take the Jets money line. Islanders and Tampa. I'm going to take the under here. Both teams have been profitable this season in this scenario of Tampa at home, Islanders on the road. Give me the under. Detroit and Calgary. I am riding the Wings. Give me the Detroit Red Wings to keep that winning streak going. That's your 6-60.
Boom! There you go. 6-59.
I left
in 59. Yes, I think.
I left the Detroit game. I left the Detroit game to the end, Andrew, because our chatter today, the live chat, I'm absolutely loving them. They're talking the Wings. They're talking Larkin. They're talking. I watched that game. I tuned in late in the third period, having no action on the game whatsoever, because I wanted to see the Wings win that game in Edmonton yesterday. Goes to OT, goes to a shootout, and they get it done. Great comeback for a team that was down on the road 2-0 to the Oilers to come back, shut them out the rest of the way, and win that game. The Wings are in the mix, man. It's I will say this about any sport and any playoff. You just need a ticket to get into the playoffs. Once you're there, anything can happen. So can you imagine Detroit getting the number 8 seed. Detroit and Washington. That would be a great opening round matchup. Washington wins the East. Detroit squeaks in the 8th spot, and we get Detroit and Washington, because we got some Washington fans in our chat, and we have some Detroit fans in our chat, and then we have a lot of Detroit fans in our Detroit office. So I wouldn't mind making the trip to Detroit and sitting in Johnny's seats for a playoff game. He's got some absolutely phenomenal seats there. Andrew, what are your thoughts? I took a team
I
total
don't want to
as
imagine
part of
it
my
at all.
60.
I don't want to imagine these teams winning at all. I don't want to imagine Columbus winning last night, Ottawa winning, Detroit. I'm a Montreal fan. I'm tired of. I'm not. Look, I don't think they're going to make the playoffs, but I'm pretty much, when my team is not playing, I'm cheering against the other teams. That's how it works. So I'm cheering against the Red Wings. I'm cheering against the Lightning. I'm cheering against the Blue Jackets. I'm cheering against the Senators. If these teams are playing opponents that aren't within the division, I am the biggest fan. Last night, I was the biggest Oilers fan ever. And not only does it go to a shootout, but Detroit wins. So I get it. We're supposed to cheer for these underdogs, but I'm cheering against those teams right now, Carm.
Yeah, no, I know it's you're cheering for your Habs. Andrew, here's an interesting stat for you as far as the Montreal Canadiens go, and I believe this is I'm going to bring this up, but with first periods, the Montreal Canadiens, if you're looking for the Montreal Canadiens to get off to a good start in the first period, you're not doing well, especially on the road. The Montreal Canadiens, where are we here, Andrew? Sorry. I seem to have lost that number, so I'm sorry. I'll get to it in a second, Andrew. But I believe the Montreal Canadiens have only held the lead once at the end of the first period. That's not a good stat, is it?
That's tough. That's tough. I'll give you a good
Tough,
stat,
he
though.
says.
I'll give you a good
Here it
stat,
is.
though.
Here it is. Sorry. One in 24 road games this season, the Montreal Canadiens, after 20 minutes, are 1 win, 14 times they've trailed, 9 times they've been tied going into the dressing room after 20 minutes. You're down 12.55 units on the season. The next worst team is Tampa Bay, down almost 10 units on the season. So listen, the Sabres are in last place, so I'm not taking shots at your Montreal Canadiens. I'm just trying to throw out some positive angles that you guys can jot down on a piece of paper and say, shit, I heard this on PuckTime. Fade Montreal on the road in the opening 20 minutes of a game. It's been profitable, right? So
I get it. I'll tell you one thing, though. They've got San Jose coming up. They've got Chicago. They've got your free space in the bingo card, Buffalo twice. They've got Seattle. They've got Anaheim Ducks. This has been a bloodbath month for the Montreal Canadiens, and they've still had think about how many plus money tickets they've cashed: Colorado, Tampa Bay, Florida, some of these really good ones. And if they didn't absolutely bury themselves in October and November, Carm, Canadiens fans should be happy. But they played so bad to start the season off that they lose a couple games in a row. Like, let's take a look. I got to do this here. At the month of January, I mean, the games that they've won, they beat the Canucks, they beat the Avalanche, they beat the Capitals, they beat the Stars, they beat Utah, they beat the Rangers, they beat the Devils. They've had all these games that they've been successful in. They lose a few games and the fans start freaking out. The games they have to win are the games on Sunday against the Anaheim Ducks and against the San Jose Sharks. If they lose against Anaheim on Sunday, Carm, I'm taking a sick day on Monday because I'll be sick all day. I won't even be able to handle it, man. I won't even be feeling well if they lose to the Ducks.
yeah, Andrew, you can take Monday off, guys, because there is no show on Monday. So I remind you of that. There's only one game in NHL. But this week, Andrew, I'm talking to a lot of sportsbook managers, messaging back and forth because we're going to do a video, you and I, of the cross sports props with the Super Bowl coming up and some NHL action going on. They do a lot of the books, or some of the books will release some cross-sport props, and I like those ones. You know what I mean? Everything from like Alex Ovechkin, shots on goal, to total number of touchdowns in the KC Philadelphia game, right? That's not actually one of them, but I'm just saying those are the type of props they put out there. So those are sort of fun ones that you can sometimes find a little bit of value, or just they're props. They're pizza slice bets. Don't go nuts on them. But with that said, Andrew, give us a show best bet while I regroup here.
All right, before I get to the show best bet, again, tough night last night, but we're still rolling. We've earned 15 units the past 2 weeks in the NHL, and we've earned over 33 units since early December in the NHL. So for those of you guys that are disappointed in last night's 5% loss, I get it, but let's keep things going here. Let's make some money tonight. Let's make some money next week and the week after that, and keep things going in the NHL. So if you want 1 week, only 2 more days left of this promo code, SAVE10. SAVE10 will take $10 off an NHL 7-day pass. You'll get everything I release today, tomorrow, the next day, and the rest of those 7 days. Sides, totals, team totals, props, whatever I release, take $10 off, guys. Forget about buying just one play. If you want to jump in, use this deal here, save 10, knock $10 off. Join me for a 7-day NHL package. All right. Play of the day today here. This is going to be a client play as well. For puck time, we're going to go with the team total over for the Utah Hockey Club. And based on some of the options I saw for the actual name, they might as well just keep it as the Hockey Club, because I don't think any of those names they suggested are any good anyway. We're going to take Utah to get to that magic number of 4 goals here. Columbus have struggled second half of a back-to-back. They won 2-1 yesterday over the Vegas Golden Knights. And a lot of times the Vegas Golden Knights, they get the teams on second half of back-to-back after playing in Utah. And luckily now for Utah, they're getting a team second half of back-to-back after playing in Vegas. I believe the number is 0-8 in back-to-back second half for the Columbus Blue Jackets here. They have been horrible as far as expected goals against, and their defensive numbers are starting to catch up to them. So we'll take Utah over 3.5 goals. And guys, again, that promo code SAVE10. Join me for 7 days. Forget about one play. Let's get this long-term money here in the NHL. And again, we're up 30 units since early December in the NHL. Back to you, Carm, to close things out.
Andrew, I've seen some of those names bouncing around. They tried to work out a deal with the company that owns Yeti, but intellectual property, and they talked about the confusion of having that name brand out there. So I think they were leaning towards Utah Yeti, but that is not going to happen. Still the coolest name ever, Andrew, as far as NHL teams or hockey teams go, is the California Golden Seals. If you're old enough to remember the California Golden Seals, you'll remember they had a cool ass logo as well too. So California Golden Seals, Utah Golden Seals. Come on, man, steal that name, even though you're landlocked. Andrew, or sorry, guys, CB100, CB100. That code will get you $100 off a 30-day all access. That's going to cover obviously the Super Bowl. And prop bets, all NHL, all soccer. There's tons of soccer now. The 2 tournaments are into the knockout stages now in February, and plenty of NHL as well too. So CB100 will knock 100 off of that 30-day all access package price. My show play is going to be the first game we talked about, the Nashville Preds, minus 125 against the Buffalo Sabres. Sabres have a very good first period record at home, profitable one, but they give up leads in the second and third periods. And this is a Nashville team that's scoring goals, and I believe that they'll do that tonight. I'm taking the Preds as your show free play. Nashville Predators minus 125. Guys, we appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, drop a comment in the comment section below. let me know how you guys think I will do on the 6 and 60. I'll pick one person amongst all the correct answers, and you'll get some Puck Time swag, which I am picking up this weekend. For myself, Andrew McInnes, and Dan, the producer, this is Puck Time. We will see you on Tuesday.